Last week we finished Karuna and Mudita, compassion and appreciative joy. Now, they are called limitless ones or measureless ones. And they are so called because their object should always be limitless. So, limitless beings. And actually there are four states that are called limitless or measureless. And these four are Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. Metta and Upekkha are not included in the limitless ones here because they are represented respectively by non-hatred and neutrality of mind. Yeah. Now, although Metta is, say, adosa, non-hate, and Upekkha is neutrality of mind, not every adosa, not every neutrality of mind is Metta or Upekkha that belong to measureless states. Because when you are paying respect to the Buddha, when you are studying, there is adosa in your mind, but not metta. So in order for it to become metta, you have to practice specially, like may all beings be well and happy and so on. So metta and upekkha as limitless states are narrower in scope than the cetasikas, adosa and tatra majjatata, neutrality of mind. Okay, now we come to the last mental factor, which is amoha or panyendriya. Now in Abhidhamma, as said in the manual, panya is sometimes called just panya, sometimes jnana, and sometimes amoha. And there are other synonyms of it too. And these words are used synonymously in Abhidhamma. So whether jnana or panya or amoha, we mean the same thing, the same mental factor. And this mental factor is here called panyendriya. Indriya means a faculty. That means it exercises predominance over other mental factors in comprehending things, in understanding the real nature of things. So it is called the faculty of wisdom or faculty of knowledge. And it has a characteristic of penetrating things according to their intrinsic nature. That means seeing them in their true nature, seeing the true nature of things. And sometimes the characteristic is described as sure penetration. Now when a sharpshooter shoots, then he always hits the target. In the same way, panya always hit the target, which is the object. So panya or amoha or jnana is that which penetrates or which understands the true nature of things. Its function is to illuminate the objective field like a lamp. So panya is compared to a lamp, and moha is compared to darkness. So when there is no light in this room, we cannot see things in this room, we cannot see each other. But when there is light, when the room is illuminated, then we see things clearly. So in the same way, when there is moha in our mind, we don't see things clearly, we don't see things as they are. But when panya comes, it is like illuminating the object, and so we see things clearly. So panya has the function of illuminating the object, like a searchlight or something. It is manifested as non-bewilderment. So when you understand something clearly, when you understand the true nature of a thing, then you are sure about that thing. You are not bewildered. So it is, panya is here compared to a kite. A kite can take you through the wilderness without making mistakes. And its proximate cause is wise attention. So yoniso manasikara. Now, according to Abhidhamma, not every knowledge is called panya. So panya is that which understands the real nature of things. Sometimes there may be some kind of knowledge by which you make weapons to kill other people, something like that. So those are not called panya according to Abhidhamma. It may be some kind of strong vitaka, or sometimes it may even be akusala. And panya is best illustrated with regard to vipassana meditation. So you practice vipassana meditation, you make notes of the object you observe, and as your mind becomes concentrated, you begin to see the objects clearly, and then their characteristics and others, their true nature. So panya is best illustrated with reference to vipassana meditation. Now, there are three states which seem to share some kind of understanding or knowledge. Now, there is sanya. What is sanya? Perception. And then there is vijnana. What is vijnana? It is citta. And then there is panya or jnana. Let's say panya. And they look similar. And even in the words, you find the word nya, right? Panya, vijnana, sanya. So all of them know the object, but their mode of knowing is different. So sanya is knowing the object, but here knowing the object means just perception of the object, just making note of the object. It is blue, it is red, it is yellow, and so on. And vijnana is described as something which knows that the object is, say, blue or yellow or whatever, and also it knows the characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. But it cannot achieve the eradication of mental defilements. It cannot achieve the penetration of the Four Noble Truths. Panya can do that. So there is a difference between sanya, vijnana, and panya. Sanya makes a mark, and vijnana makes a mark, and also it knows the object, but it cannot help penetration arise just by itself. So that is done by panya. So, and these three are compared to a child and an ordinary man, that's a villager, and a treasurer or money changer, or a smith. When these people see a coin, their understanding of the coin is different. When a child sees a coin, he just knows that it is something, and it is round or something like that. That, say, it is round or square or long or it is figured, and so on. But the child does not know that it can be used as an object to buy something. Now the villager knows that it is a coin, it has some figures on it, or it is round, or it is square, or it is long, and also he knows that it is valuable for human use. It can be used to exchange with other things. And he knows, but he does not know whether that coin is really a genuine coin, or whether it is false, or whether it is just half value. This he does not know. And this knowledge is for the money changer or the smith. So a smith or a money changer, he is familiar with the money or the coins, and so he knows in all three modes. He knows that it is a round thing, it has a figure on it, and he knows that it can be used for exchanging things, and also he knows that it is false or it is genuine, and even he knows that it is made in some year, or it is made at some place, or even it is made by some people. So his understanding is thorough with regard to a coin. A villager's understanding is not thorough. He knows that it is an object, a coin, and he knows that it can be used for exchanging things. And a child's understanding is very primitive. So he just knows that it is a round thing. He may play with it. So this is the difference between sanya, vijnana, and panya. And this difference actually is given in the books with reference to vipassana meditation. So when you practice vipassana meditation, first you see the characteristics. You penetrate the characteristics with panya actually. But vijnana also takes them as object. Vijnana can take the characteristics, the impermanent, suffering, and soulless nature, can take them as object. But it cannot, by itself, achieve the penetration of the Four Noble Truths. Now there is another kind of difference between these three. And I think that would apply to any kind of sanya, vijnana, and panya. And that is that sanya knows the object, whether it is right or whether it is wrong. So whether it is right or wrong, sanya will just make a note. So sanya will make a note as snake, while the object is a rope, something like that. Or it will make a note as a human being, while the object is just a scarecrow. So sanya is just knowing the object by making notes that it is yellow, it is white, and so on. Panya penetrates into the nature of things and understands it thoroughly. And vijnana is just the awareness of the object. So although they arise simultaneously, they arise at the same time, and they take the same object, their relationship to the object, or their understanding of the object, is different. One makes just a note of it, and the other just be aware of it, and the last one penetrates into the nature of that thing. So that is the difference between these three mental states: perception, consciousness, and wisdom or understanding. Now with this we come to the end of 52 mental states. So again, let us go back to the beginning. How many are how are they divided? How are the 52 divided? First, there are 13 In Pali they are called Anya Samana, common to another. And then there are 14 akusala that are unwholesome, and there are 25. There are 25 that are beautiful. Again, the first 13 are divided into 2. The first 7 are universals, and the other 6 occasional or particulars or pakinaka. And unwholesome cetasikas are okay. And then 25 sobhana cetasikas are divided into 19 that are common to all beautiful consciousness. And then 3 that are called abstinences. And the 2 limitless ones. And the last, panya. Right. So altogether there are 52 mental states. Now these 52 mental states, or at least some of these mental states are interesting, because what we call emotions are just some of them, like lobha, dosa, and then worry or remorse, and all these states are included in 52 cetasikas. So what we call emotions nowadays are just these mental states. And as we have studied, so we should understand each one of them with reference to their characteristic, function, manifestation, and proximate cause. Now, understanding the approximate cause is, I think, important, because if we want to get rid of, or if we want to just diminish some bad mental states, what we have to do is to work with the proximate causes. So the proximate cause of lobha is what? Taking things as beautiful. So if you have too much lobha and you want to get rid of lobha, you should attack that proximate cause. That is, try to see them not as beautiful, not as attractive, but as loathsome or something like that. If you are too much attracted to a person, if you love a person too much, then you have to see that that person is the body of that person is loathsome, and he is impermanent, and so on. So understanding these four aspects of each one of them can help us in trying to develop, or trying to diminish, or trying to get rid of these mental states. And these mental states are all mentioned in Abhidhamma or Dhammasangani, and they are put in a organized form in this manual. So this manual divides cetasikas into 13 common to others, and then 14 unwholesome, and 25 beautiful cetasikas, and so on. Now, after we know the 52 mental states of cetasikas, we must know how these 52 mental cetasikas come into association with 121 types of consciousness. So today you have some work to do, not just listening. So there are two kinds of combinations. So I call them cetasika citta combination and citta cetasika combination. So you take a cetasika, and then you say this cetasika is associated with or arises with so many chetas. And that is called Cetasika Chitta combination. In Pali it is called Sampayoga method. If you take one type of consciousness and say this type of consciousness arises along with 19 Cetasikas, 21 Cetasikas and so on, this is called Chitta Cetasika combination. So we take Chitta and then try to find how many Cetasikas arise together with it. So that is in the manual it is called Sangaha method. So the first one is Sampayoga method and the second one is Sangaha method. Now you can read the manual or you can look at the chart. So, and then you can look at this chart. This chart is in the manual also, but there is some error in the manual. So I hope this chart is correct. I have read it again and again. But sometimes it is very difficult to be free from mistakes. Say here or there, say you make a mistake, you overlook. So I hope it is correct and accurate. So please look at this chart, and then we will try to find out first the Sampayoga method. So in order to see the Sampayoga method, you read the columns down from top to bottom. That is Sampayoga method. Cetasika Chitta combination. So if you have this chart, it's very easy. You know at a glance, say how many Chetas arise with a particular Cetasika, or how many Cetasikas arise with a particular Chitta. Now we'll go through it one by one. So the first column, you look at the name of the Chetas. So Lobha Mula, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You all know that. Dosa Mula, 1, 2, and Moha Mula, 1, 2. Right. And then next group, Dvi Pancha Vijnana. So you know which are Dvi Pancha Vijnana? Okay. Dvi Pancha Vijnana are 2 eye consciousness, 2 ear consciousnesses, 2 nose consciousnesses, 2 tongue consciousnesses, and 2 body consciousnesses. So you can look at the chart also, the take the dots. And then Sampatichana. There are 2 Sampatichanas. One belonging to Akusala Vipaka and the other to Kusala Vipaka. And then there are 3 Santiranas, investigating consciousness. The first one is Upekha. So there are 2 Santirana Chetas accompanied by Upekha and one accompanied by Somanasa. Yeah. And then Pancha Dwara Vajana. 5 sense door adverting. Which one? On the chart. I have a small chart. I want you to put the colors like this. Later on I will tell you. So Pancha Dwara Vajana, there is only 1. And then Mano Dwara Vajana, also 1. And the last one is Hasitupada, smile producing. Next, Kama Vajra Kusala, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And then Kama Vajra Vipaka, sense sphere resultant, again 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and Kama Vajra Kiriya, functional consciousness. Again, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And then Rupa Vajra, first jhana, 3. So 3 first jhana chetas. Which are the 3? 1 Kusala, 1 Vipaka, and 1 Kiriya. The first line across. Second jhana also 3. Third jhana 3. Fourth jhana 3. And fifth jhana also 3. So altogether there are 15 Rupa Vajra chetas. And then 12 Arupa Vajra chetas. They all belong to which jhana? First or second or third or fourth or fifth? Fifth. Yeah. So Arupa Vajra jhana or fifth jhana, there are 12. And then Lokuttara chetas. Now Sotapatti Magga, and then there is a, what do you call that? Bracket? Huh? So that means you have to combine Sotapatti Magga with all first, second, third, fourth, fifth jhana. So Sotapatti Magga first jhana, Sotapatti Magga second jhana, Sotapatti Magga third jhana, Sotapatti Magga fourth jhana, Sotapatti Magga fifth jhana. And then Sakadagami Magga first, second, third, fourth, fifth, Anagami Magga same, and Arahata Magga first, second, third, fourth, fifth jhana. And then the phala or fruition the same. Sotapatti phala, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, fifth jhana. And then second, Sakadagami phala, Anagami phala, Arahata phala, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Can you identify those in the Jeta chart? Yes? Good. You must be able to do that, right? Yeah. So it is good to have both, yeah? The small card and the chart now in front of you. So you have to look at both these things. Now let's go to the Cetasikas. Now Sabba Citta Sadharana. That means 7 universal. You remember the 7 universals? Phasa. Contact, feeling, perception, and then volition, attention, and then what? Life principle. Yeah. So these 7 are called in Pali Sabba Citta Sadharana. So let's say universals. So with regard to universals, we have no difficulty. They arise with every type of consciousness. So 89 or 121 types of consciousness. So whenever a consciousness arises, these 7 will be always with it. No problem here. The next one is Vitaka. So with how many chetas does Vitaka arise? 55. Now since Vitaka is one of the jhana factors, we take into account the 40 Lokuttara chetas, not 8 Lokuttara chetas. Or say we look among 121 types of consciousness. Now let's say Vitaka. Vitaka is concomitant with all 12 akusala chetas, right? And then it is not concomitant with 10 Dvipancha Vijnana, right? So it does not arise with seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, and so on. Right? Yeah. And then with others, it arises. So you go down the what do you call that? The line until you reach Rupa Vajra first jhana. it arises with Rupa Vajra first jhana, right? Why? Because there are 5 mental jhana factors arising with first Rupa Vajra jhana. Vitaka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. But with second jhana, it does not arises, right? And then with third, fourth, fifth jhana also, no. And with Arupa Vajra, no. Then with Lokuttara, it arises with first jhana. So there are altogether 8 first jhana chetas, 4 margas and 4 phalas, right? And it does not arise with second, third, fourth, and fifth. So Vitaka arises with Kamavajra chetas except 10 Dvipancha Vijnana, fivefold, twice fivefold consciousness. And it does not arise with second, third, fourth, and fifth jhana chetas, both Mahagata and Lokuttara, right? So if you count the chetas, you get 55 chetas. Now what I want you to do is, you put colors in the blank circles, just the colors for Vitaka, like this. That will take you 1 card. And then for Vichara, another card. For Dimoka, another card. So if you have those cards, you can see them very clearly. Now, not all the colors are put in. The colors are not put in all the circles. So you pick up this and you know that this is for Vitaka. So you may write here with Vitaka and then 55. That's for instant reference. Now nowadays people are fond of instant things, right? Instant result, instant coffee, and so on. So here, instant Abhidhamma. So if you have these cards, you have instant Abhidhamma. So if you want to know how many chetas arise with Vitaka, you pick up this and you see, oh, Vitaka arises with all akusala chetas, right? And then Sampatichana and Santirana, and then 24 Kama Vajra, beautiful Kama Vajra chetas, and then first jhana, Rupa Vajra, and Lokuttara chetas. So when you put in the colors, first put in the colors that are isolated, like the red one here, and then green, 2 greens here, and then 1 red here. And later on you can put other colors. Because sometimes you are interested in filling the circle, and then you may by mistake fill in this one with, say, blue color. And if you did so, you'll have to discard it and start from the beginning. So you need concentration to do this. But once you are done, you have done it, you will say, oh, I have accomplished something. And so these are very handy. And I want you to put colors in them and then have them handy for you. So this is Vitaka. So 1 card for Vitaka, and then another card for Vichara. Now Vichara arises with all 12 akusala chetas, but it does not arise with 10 vijnanas, right? 3 pancha vijnana chetas. And then it arises with second jhana, both Rupa Vajra and Lokuttara. But with third jhana, no. Fourth jhana, no. Fifth jhana, no. So it arises with altogether how many chetas? 55 plus 11. So 66. So it arises with 66 types of consciousness. 55 plus 11 second jhana chetas. Now, there is a question here. We learned that Vitaka does not arise with 3 pancha vijnana and the second jhana and so on. And we learned that vitaka is the mental factor that takes the mind to the object, that puts the mind onto the object. Then how come the vijnanas are without vitaka? How could they take the object without the help of vitaka? So this is a question here. If there is no vitaka to take the consciousness to the object, how can consciousness go to the object? Now the answer is, now for these 10, the impact is too great that these don't need vitaka to take them to the object. The visible object and then the eye sensitivity come into contact. And so their contact or their impact is great, so that they don't need vitaka to take them to the object. Without vitaka, they are able to take the object. And with the second jhana and so on, they don't need vitaka because it was because of disgust for vitaka that they practice meditation and get the second jhana. So the vitaka is eliminated in second jhana by force of mental development, by force of bhavana. So that is why the second jhana and so on, they are without vitaka. So they are also without vitaka, they can take the object. Because they have the persons have developed the mind to such a degree, to such an intensity of experience that they can take the object without the help of vitaka. And vichara, the same thing. The third jhana, there is no vichara in the third jhana. So that is because vichara is eliminated by force of mental development. Now, if you remember how a person tries to get the higher jhana, you know that a person who has got the first jhana wants to attain the second jhana, right? So he finds fault with vitaka and he tries to eliminate vitaka. And as a result of his practice, when the jhana arises next time, that jhana is without vitaka. So by force of practice, by force of, say, willpower, by force of mental development, vitaka is eliminated in the second jhana and so on. So they don't need, without the help of vitaka and vichara, these types of consciousness can take the object. Okay, the next one. Abhidhamma does not arise with what? Doubt, right. The moha mula, cheta accompanied by moha, and that is with doubt. So doubt and abhidhamma is what? Decision, right? Making a decision, making a resolution. If you have doubt, we cannot make a resolution. So they are incompatible. That is why abhidhamma does not arise with first moha mula cheta, which is accompanied by doubt. And then Dvipancha Vijnana also. It is said that these 10 chetas are actually weak in their experience of the object. So since they are weak, abhidhamma does not arise with them also. And then if you go down the column, with all other chetas. So abhidhamma does not arise with one, first moha mula cheta, and then 10, Dvipancha Vijnana, 11. So 89 minus 11, 78. So we get 78 there. But if we want to apply it to 121 types of consciousness, then we get 110. And then virya, effort, energy. Virya does not arise with vibhaja vijnana and so on. Again, the sub-commentary to the manual did not give any reasons. But one teacher gave the reason as that they are weak, and so they are not compatible with virya or energy which is strong. So virya does not arise with how many? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right? 16? Oh yeah. 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. So virya does not arise with 16. Very good. So it arises with only 73 types of consciousness or 105 types of consciousness. Now comes piti. Piti means zest. So it has a nature of joy. So it will not arise with those that are accompanied by upekha, and also those that are accompanied by domanassa. Right. So it does not arise with 4 from lobha mula cetas, and then 2 dosa mula cetas, and 2 moha mula cetas. So it arises with only 4 from akusala. And then Dupanja Vijnana are accompanied by what feeling? Ubekha. Sampatichana also Ubekha. Santirana also one is Ubekha. The other Somanasa. So with Somanasa it arises. And then Panchadwara Vajana and Monodwara Vajana, they are accompanied by Ubekha. They are blue dots. And then it arises with Hasitobara, right? Smile producing, because it is smile producing, it must be accompanied by pleasurable feeling. So it arises with it. And then Kamavajra Kusala, the first 4 are accompanied by Somanasa. So it arises with them. And the last 4 are accompanied by Ubekha. So it does not arise with them. The same with Kamavajra Vipaka and Kamavajra Kiriya. And then let's go to Rupa Vajra. With first jhana there is Vitaka, right? I mean Piti. Second jhana, yes. Third jhana, yes. But fourth jhana, no. And fifth jhana, no. So it does not arise with fourth jhana and fifth jhana. Now please note that fourth jhana is accompanied by Somanasa, right? But Piti does not arise with that Somanasa because of force of practice, say mental development. Because it is in order to get rid of piti that the person tries to get the fourth jhana. So that is why it does not accompany the fourth jhana cetas. So only with the first, second, and third, right? The same with Arupa Vajra cetas, they are all 12. And then the same with 4th and 5th Magga cetas, and 4th and 5th Phala cetas. Okay, so piti arises with 51 types of consciousness. Now you remember how many types of consciousness are accompanied by Somanasa feeling? 62. Yeah. So you take 11 fourth jhana cetas from the 62, and so you get 51. So if you note that way, then you can remember easily. There are 62 types of consciousness accompanied by Somanasa. So among them, 11 fourth jhana chetas are not accompanied by piti. So 62 minus 11, you get 51 types of consciousness. And then the last one is chanda, condition or desire to do, the will to do. So moha mula chetas they are dull chetas. So chanda is not compatible with them, and also it is said that chanda is not compatible with all ahituka chetas. And with others, it's compatible. So chanda does not arise with 20 types of consciousness. So 89 minus 20, you get 69. And from 121, you get 101 types of consciousness. Now this is the combination, Cetasika Cheta combination for 13 Cetasikas that are called what? Common to another. 13 Anyasamana Cetasikas. And then we come to 14 unwholesome Cetasikas. Now, it's easier with them because you have to look only among 12 akusala chetas, right? so the range is now narrowing. Now, moha, hirika, anotaba, and odaja. It is said that they accompany all loba mula chetas. I mean, all akusala chetas. So, every time an akusala consciousness arises, they also arise. Because akusala consciousness arises, when akusala consciousness arises, there is some kind of not understanding correctly. Not understanding, let us say, loba mula ceta. Not understanding that loba is, loba leads to, say, full woeful state and so on. And there is also a shade of non-disgust of akusala and non-fear of akusala, and also there is some kind of agitation. So all these four accompany every type of unwholesome consciousness. I think it is explained in the manual, this notes to manual. For every wholesome cheta involves a mental blindness to the danger and evil, a lack of shame or moral dread, and an underlying current of agitation, that is restlessness. So that is why they are called actually akusala universals. And then loba, attachment. Loba accompanies only the 8 loba mula chetas. It's very easy. And then deity, wrong view. It accompanies only 4. Those that are accompanied by wrong view. And mana, conceit, accompany only 4 of loba mula chetas. That is, that are not accompanied by wrong view. Now, manual, page 95, right? Both of these factors are found only in the chetas rooted in greed. That's okay. For they involve some degree of holding to the 5 aggregates. They are based on loba. So only when there is loba, there is a wrong understanding of the object and also the pride with regard to that object. However, the two exhibit contrary qualities. Although they are based on loba, they have different, qualities, and thus they cannot coexist in the same cheta. They cannot arise with one and the same cheta. If loba, if deity arises with one cheta, then mana will not arise with it. And if mana arises with one cheta, deity will not arise with it. Because their mode of, say, apprehending the object is different. So wrong view occurs in the mode of misapprehending, or interpreting things in a manner contrary to actuality. So the deity takes impermanent things to be permanent, unsatisfactory things to be satisfactory, and insubstantial things to be substantial, and so on. And so its understanding of the object, its reaction to the object is in this way. It takes them wrongly. But mana, conceit, occurs in the mode of self-evaluation. That means taking oneself to be superior. So I'm better than they are. Or sometimes I am the same as they are. Sometimes, I'm not as good as they are, but still I have pride, I have conceit. So its relation to the object is different. It has a different mode than wrong view, and so wrong view and conceit cannot arise with the same object, and they are compared to two lions of equal strength who cannot live in one cave. So when wrong view is necessarily present in the four chetas rooted in greed accompanied by wrong view, conceit is not a necessary concomitant of the four greed-rooted chetas dissociated from wrong view. It does not arise apart from these chetas, but these chetas can occur without conceit. Now we'll come to that later. Now here we have to note that deity and mana cannot arise simultaneously, and because although they may say spring from lobha, their mode of reacting to the object is different, and so they cannot arise at the same time. Lobha, deity, mana, dosa, isam, machariya, kukuja, these four arise with two dosa mula chetas only. So they are found in these two chetas, dosa, asa, machariya, kukuja. Among them, dosa always arises with these two chetas. But asa, machariya, and kukuja arise not always with these two chetas, sometimes only. So we'll come to that later too. But here we have to count all that accompany dosa mula cheta. So we say there are four unwholesome mental factors that arise with two chetas accompanied by domanassa. Now, asa is what? Envy, right? Jealousy or envy. So asa takes what object? What is the object of asa? Other people's success. And machariya, one's own success. And then kukuja, remorse, takes what as an object? Something done or undone, right? Some good thing that is not done, and some bad thing that is done. So their objects are different. If the objects are different, then they cannot arise at the same time. So when there is asa, there can be no machariya and so on. This also will come to later. Then we come to the two, sloth and toba. Now they are dull mental states, so they cannot arise with those that are unprompted, right? Yeah. So they arise only with those that are prompted. Only when there is tina and metta, we have to prompt. We have to encourage ourselves. When the cheta is by itself strong, then we don't need the prompting. So Tina and Metta arises only with those that are prompted. So that is number 2, 4, 6, 8, and actually number 10. And then the last one, what is the last one? Doubt, vicikiccha. It arises with only one Cheta. So it is the one among 52 Chetasikas that arises with the least number of Chetas. That is only one Cheta. So one Cheta, one Chetasika. Next group. The first 19 are easy. Since they are common to all Sobhana, beautiful Chetas, they arise with all beautiful Chetas. So they arise with sense sphere, consciousness, kusala, vipaka and kriya, and also with rupa vajra, arupa vajra, and lokuttara. So they arise with 59 types of consciousness or 91 types of consciousness. That is 89 minus 54 or 121 minus 30. Yeah, 89 minus 30 or 121 minus 30, right? Now, viriti, 3 abstinences. 3 abstinences are what? Right speech, right action, right livelihood. Since they are called abstinences, they arise only when there is abstinence. When you are paying homage to the Buddha, they don't arise, right? Now, these 3 arise with, you look at the chart, so 8 Kama Vajra Kusala Chetas, right? And then 8 or 40 Lokuttara Chetas. So they arise with Kama Vajra Kusala and they arise with Lokuttara. But there is difference of the mode of their arising. It is said in the manual that when they arise with Lokuttara Chetas, they arise in entirety or in all modes, and they arise together. And they arise always. So whenever a supramundane consciousness arises, these 3 arise. And they arise together at the same time. And when they arise in the mode of destroying all inclinations towards evil doings. Now it is a little difficult to understand here, because if the abstinences arise with, say, mundane Chetas, Kama Vajra Kusala Chetas, they arise occasionally, only when there is something to be abstained. And when they arise one at a time. When there is some right speech, there is no right action, no right livelihood. When there is right action, there is no right speech and no right livelihood. And when there is right livelihood, there are no other 2. But in the Lokuttara Chetas, it is different. It is the power of Lokuttara Chetas. Because when a Lokuttara Cheta arises, it eradicates all mental defilements, right? Yeah. So when it eradicates all mental defilements, it means it eradicates all inclination towards these, the transgression of all these evil states. So virtually, when a supramundane consciousness arises and eradicates mental defilements, it is actually abstaining from all evil, not only wrongdoing by body, not only wrongdoing by speech, not only wrong livelihood, but from all these it abstains virtually. That is why when they arise with Lokuttara Cetas, they arise in all modes of eradicating the inclination towards evil, and they arise together, and they arise always. But when they arise with Kamavajra Kusala Cetas, they arise one at a time, and they arise sometimes only. So that is the difference. So that is explained, given in my sheets too. Yeah. At the end of Chaita Chaitasika combination. The three Virati Chaitasikas arise in the 8 Kamavajra Kusala Cetas, 1 sometimes only, and 2 separately. So only when abstaining from evil speech or evil deed or wrong livelihood, and not at other times. So they do not arise always with Kamavajra Kusala Cetas. And when they arise separately, one by one. But when they arise in or with the 8 or 40 Lokuttara Cetas, they arise by all modes of crushing evil speech, evil deeds, and wrong livelihood. So there is no such thing as crushing livelihood one by one, because the Maggas can completely eradicate all evil and all livelihood. I mean, inclination towards all evil and all livelihood, all at once. And when they arise always. Whenever a Lokuttara Citta arises, they will arise. And when they arise all 3 at once, not like in Kamavajra Citta, one by one. So that is the difference. So when they arise with Lokuttara Cetas, they don't have to abstain from, say, false speech at one time, and then backbiting at one time, and so on. So they eradicate inclination to all these evil deeds and wrong livelihood. So with Lokuttara Cetas, they arise together, they arise always. But with Kamavajra Kusala Cetas, they arise sometimes only, and when they arise one at a time. And then the next group is Appamanya, limitless ones. So here, 2 limitless ones, Karuna and Mudita. Now they arise with how many Cetas? Kamavajra Kusala Cetas, 8, and then Kamavajra Kriya Cetas, 8, and then Rupavajra first jhana, 3, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, 3. So altogether, 28 types of consciousness. 8 plus 12. Now you see Karuna, let's say Karuna. Karuna arises with only 28 types of consciousness. And Mudita also, 28 types of consciousness. Now here, they arise with Kusala, and they arise with Kiriya, right? And then they arise with first, second, third, fourth jhana. They do not arise with 5th jhana, because when they reach 5th jhana, it is accompanied by Upekha, and not with Somanasa. But when you practice Karuna or Mudita, there is Somanasa. Now, there is a difference, or there was a difference in opinion among teachers in those days. This is the common opinion of teachers, that Karuna and Mudita arise with, say, 28 types of consciousness, right? Now, you look at the Kamavajra Kusala 8, right? 4 are accompanied by Somanasa. 4 are accompanied by Upekha. Right? So, they think that if you practice Karuna and Mudita, they must always be accompanied by Somanasa. They cannot be accompanied by Ubekha. So according to them, you'll have to take out 4. But the author of the manual did not like that opinion. He did not accept that opinion. And so he said in the commentary, he said in the manual that some teachers say that Karuna and Mudita do not arise with Chetas accompanied by Ubekha. He just said that. But we must understand from his style of writing that he did not approve of that opinion of some teachers. Whenever the authors use some, in Pali it is keji, that means I don't like that. It is not acceptable to me. It is not so good, something like that. That is why it is very difficult, say, to really understand when you read, especially the commentaries. They do not say expressly that I don't like it, or this is, say, I am above it, or something like that. But they may put some of these signs here and there. Whenever they use the word keji, some, we know that the author doesn't like it. So here also the author of the manual used the word keji, that means some teachers. So some teachers said this and this. So that means he doesn't like it. Now, why did he not like it? That's the question, right? Now, when you practice Karuna and Mudita, let's say Karuna, let's say Mudita. Mudita is more obvious. So when you practice Mudita, in the beginning, it must be accompanied by Somanasa, right? Only when there is Somanasa can Mudita arise. So you are happy with the other people's success. You are happy with other people's property, other people's, say, well-being. So there must be Somanasa. So it is true that in the very beginning of the practice of Karuna and Mudita, they must be accompanied by Somanasa. But after you have gained experience in practicing Karuna and Mudita, sometimes you may practice them, you may develop them with Ubekha Sakata Chetas. It can be developed that way. And they give 2 examples. Now there's a small piece of sheet I gave you today. Now, first example is you can recite a thoroughly learned passage without actually paying attention to it, right? You can sing a song, but you may be thinking of other things. Then you can recite something, some prayer or something you have learned, memorized, and then you can say it. That happens many times to us, right? And also it is said that when you practice Vipassana meditation, now Vipassana is Panya, right? So logically, Vipassana must always be accompanied by wisdom, jnana. So we can practice Vipassana with consciousness accompanied by jnana only, right? Wrong. Now, we practice Vipassana and with jnana sampayutta cetas. But when we are very familiar with comprehending the characteristics of the phenomena, sometimes we may be practicing it with jnana vibhuta jhanas. Because by force of habit. So, in the same way, when you have become very familiar with the practice of karuna and mudita, you may practice sometimes. You may develop them sometimes with citta accompanied by upekkha. That is, before you reach the state of jhana. But when you reach the state of jhana, when jhana arises, it must definitely be accompanied by somanasa, no upekkha at that time. So here it said, of course in the jhana thought process, they arise only with the somanasa sahagata cetas, as there can be no asivana repetition conditioning to those of different vedana. In order to understand this, you must understand patthana. And also some thought process. Now, I think you are familiar with thought process because I have talked about it many times. Now, there are 7 jhana moments, right? So, when a person reaches jhana, there is one thought process, jhana thought process. Now, in that jhana thought process, there are 4 kama vajra jhanas, and then 1 rupa vajra kusala. Or there may be millions of rupa vajra kusala. But let's say rupa vajra kusala. Now, these jhana moments enjoys this repetition condition. That means the succeeding one is reinforced. The what shall I say like that? Succeeding one is reinforced by the preceding one, something like that. So something like the preceding one imparting some of its quality to the succeeding one, and that can be done only among those that belong to the same feeling. So if, say, the 4 kama vajra jhanas are accompanied by upekkha, and jhana must be accompanied by somanasa, that cannot happen, because there can be no repetition conditioning there. But it is said in the patthana that they have this repetition condition. So that is why in the jhana thought process, they must always be accompanied by somanasa. But before that jhana thought process, when you are developing your mind to reach that jhana stage, then you can develop you can develop karuna and mudita sometimes with cetas accompanied by upekkha. So since karuna and mudita, not upekkha. So since karuna and mudita can be accompanied by upekkha feeling, the opinion of some teachers is said to be unacceptable. So that is why he said, some say. So by that some say, he showed that he didn't accept their opinion. Okay. So, according to this, let us take that karuna and mudita arise with how many cetas? 28 cetas. Okay. Now, what about metta? Metta can be accompanied by, metta accompanies also these 28 cetas, if it is metta. But if it is adosa, it accompanies all 59 beautiful consciousness, right? So there is a difference between just adosa and adosa developed as metta. So when it is developed as metta, it accompanies only 28 types of consciousness. But if it is just ordinary adosa, it will accompany all 59 types of consciousness. Okay, Tatra Majjadara also something like that. If it is Ubbekha, then it will accompany not, let's say, it will accompany not first, second, third, fourth jhana, but it will accompany fifth jhana, right? But if it is ordinary neutrality of consciousness, then it will accompany all 59. So there is difference. So Tatra Majjadada, ordinary, accompanies 59 types of consciousness. But Tatra Majjadada developed as Ubbekha Brahma Vihara, Ubbekha, how to call, sublime abode. So then it accompanies not 59 types of consciousness, but 8 Kamavajra Kusala and 5th Rupa Vajra, 5th Rupa Vajra jhanas. So we must understand that difference. Adosa as developed as metta accompanies 28 types of consciousness. Adosa, ordinary adosa accompanies 59. Ordinary Tatra Majjadara accompanies 59. But if it is developed as Ubbekha Brahma Vihara, then it accompanies only Kamavajra Kusala and then Kamavajra Kusala, Kamavajra Kriya and 5th jhana. Okay, the last one. Panya. Since it is panya, it will not accompany those that are not accompanied by, not associated with knowledge or understanding, right? So it will accompany from the Kamavajra Kusala just numbers 1 and 2, and then 5 and 6. From among Vibhagas also the same, 1 and 2, 5 and 6. From Kriya also the same, 1 and 2, 5 and 6. But with regard to Rupa Vajra, Arupa Vajra and Lokuttara, it accompanies all, because they can never arise without Panya, without Jnana. So Panya arises all with 47 types of consciousness. Say 4 from Kamavajra Kusala, 4 from Kamavajra Vibhaga, 4 from Kamavajra Kriya, and then all 35 Mahagata and Lokuttara Chetas. So 47. But if you take Chetas to be 121, then it accompanies 79 types of consciousness. So Panya accompanies 47 or 79 types of consciousness. Now, in the manual, I think I have told you this. There is an error, and Bhikkhu Bodhi sent me some corrections to those errors, and I gave them out to you. What's the page? Page 113. It says, under the Cetasika wrong view, the boxes for greed-rooted Cetas, numbers 7 and 8 should be clear. So instead of shaded, they should be white. Under the Cetasika conceit, Mana, the box for greed-rooted Ceta, number 6, should be clear. So you have to white out three boxes. 2 boxes under wrong view and 1 box under conceit. And also on page 113, under wisdom, you don't see the number 79. No, so it is put under illimitables. So 79 should not be there, but under 47, like in this chart. They didn't see this error. Okay, now we have what are called unfixed adjuncts and fixed adjuncts. Where are they? At the end of Sampayoga method? No. Sangaha method? Where are the fixed and unfixed? Do you have those? Oh, I can't find any in my sheets. Okay. You read and I will tell you. So, what are the unfixed adjuncts? Oh, on the page on Sampayoga method, bottom of that page, Ani Yata Yogi Chetasikas 11. Now, Niyata means fixed. So aniyata means unfixed. That means not always. Now, Asa, Machariya and Kukuja, they arise separately and occasionally. That means only one can arise at a time. When Asa arises, Machariya cannot arise, Kukuja cannot arise. When Machariya arises, Asa and Kukuja cannot arise, and so on. Because, as I said before, Asa has one object, and Machariya has another kind of object, and Kukuja has yet another kind of object. Since their objects are different, they cannot arise at the same time. So when they arise one at a time, and also when they arise occasionally. That means only when you are jealous of other person's success can Asa arise. Sometimes you are just angry. So when you are just angry, they will not arise with that Cheta. So they arise only when you are jealous of other people's success, or when you cannot tolerate what they call to be your property common to others, and when you worry about, when you're remorse about what you did in the past or what you did not do in the past. So they arise one by one, and they arise sometimes only. And also viditi 3, abstinence 3, that means when they arise with mundane chetas. They arise separately, that means just one at a time, and they arise only when you refrain from, say, wrong speech or wrong action or wrong livelihood. And appamanya also, they arise separately and occasionally. When there is karuna, there can be no mudita. And when there is mudita, there can be no karuna. Because karuna takes beings in distress, and mudita takes being in happiness. So their objects are different, so they cannot arise at the same time. And then mana, conceit. Although it is said that mana arises with four loba mula chetas unaccompanied by jeti, right? Although it is said so, it will not arise with those chetas every time they arise. Here we cannot say separately because it is only one. So mana arises occasionally, only when you have that kind of feeling, say, this is I am better than other people, or something like that. So mana arises occasionally only. And then tinamida, they arise always together, but they arise also occasionally. Sometimes they may not arise. So with sasang, with prompted chetas. So they arise with prompted cheta, but that is also occasionally. So altogether there are 3, 3, 2, 1, 2. 11. So these 11 are called unfixed adjuncts, aniyata yogi chetasikas. and that the remaining 41 are called Niyata Yogi Cetasikas. That means the remaining 41s arise whenever the consciousness assigned to them arise. For example, Lobha. Lobha will arise whenever one of the eight types of Lobha Mula Ceta arises. But not so with Esa Machariya and so on. So these eight Machariya and so on are called Aniyata Yogi, non-fixed adjuncts, and the others Niyata Yogi.